The Billionaire's Stolen Heart. Welcome to Heart's Obsession. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Part 1, The Betrayal. The Perfect Life. Alara Chin stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the delicate diamond necklace that rested against her collarbone. The evening sun filtered through the windows of her penthouse apartment, casting golden light across the room. Tonight was supposed to be the beginning of forever. Her engagement party. The night she would officially announce to the world that she was marrying Marcus Sterling, the man she had loved for 3 years. She smiled at her reflection. The emerald dress hugged her figure perfectly, and her dark hair cascaded in soft waves down her back. Everything was perfect. Her art gallery was thriving, her career was flourishing, and she was about to marry the man of her dreams. What more could she ask for? "Alara, are you almost ready?" Marcus called from the living room. "Just 2 more minutes," she called back, applying the final touch of lipstick. As she walked into the living room, Marcus looked up from his phone and smiled. He was handsome in his tailored black suit, his blonde hair styled perfectly. He had the kind of smile that could light up a room, the kind that had captured her heart 3 years ago when they met at a charity auction. "You look stunning," Marcus said, standing up and kissing her cheek. "The guests are already arriving. We should head to the hotel." Alara nodded, grabbing her clutch. Tonight, over 200 guests would celebrate their love. Friends, family, business associates, everyone who mattered in their lives. Her best friend Sophia had helped plan everything, from the flower arrangements to the champagne selection. Alara felt grateful for such wonderful people in her life. The shattered dream. The ballroom at the Grand Meridian Hotel was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting prismatic light across the room. White roses and orchids decorated every surface, and a string quartet played soft classical music in the corner. Guests mingled, champagne glasses in hand, waiting for the couple of honor to make their entrance. Alara and Marcus arrived fashionably late, as planned. As they walked in, applause erupted. Alara felt her cheeks flush with happiness. She looked around for Sophia, wanting to thank her friend for the beautiful decorations, but couldn't spot her in the crowd. "Have you seen Sophia?" Alara asked Marcus. He glanced at his phone. "She texted earlier. Said she was running late with some last-minute details. She'll be here soon." The evening progressed beautifully. Alara's father gave a touching speech about his daughter finding true love. Marcus's business partner toasted to their future. Alara felt like she was floating on air. This was everything she had ever wanted. Around 9 o'clock, Alara realized she needed to touch up her makeup. The hotel's main bathroom was crowded with guests, so she remembered there was a smaller, more private bathroom on the 2nd floor that Sophia had shown her during the planning stages. She made her way upstairs, her heels clicking softly on the marble steps. The hallway was quiet, a stark contrast to the celebration below. As she approached the bathroom, she heard voices. Low voices. Familiar voices. Alara's hand froze on the door handle. "We can't keep doing this," a woman's voice said. It was Sophia. "I know," a man replied. "Marcus. But I can't help it. You're the one I really want." Alara felt the world tilt. Her hand trembled as she slowly pushed the door open. There, reflected in the large bathroom mirror, she saw them. Marcus had Sophia pressed against the marble counter, his hands in her hair, their lips locked in a passionate kiss. Time seemed to stop. Alara couldn't breathe, couldn't think. This had to be a nightmare. This couldn't be real. Sophia saw her first. Her eyes went wide, and she pushed Marcus away. "Alara." Marcus turned, and for a moment, guilt flashed across his face. But then something else replaced it. Something cold. "This isn't what it looks like," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Really?" Alara's voice came out as a whisper. "Because it looks like my fiancé and my best friend are having an affair." The cruel truth. Sophia started crying. Alara, I'm so sorry. We never meant for this to happen. It just did. How long? Alara demanded, her voice growing stronger even as her heart shattered. How long has this been going on? Marcus ran a hand through his hair, no longer bothering to lie. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year. All those times Marcus said he was working late. All those girls' nights Sophia cancelled. All those moments Alara thought she was building a life with someone who loved her. It was all a lie. Why? Alara asked, tears streaming down her face. Why did you even propose to me if you were with her? Marcus had the audacity to look annoyed. Because you have connections, Alara. Your family, your gallery, your social circle. Marrying you would have opened doors for my business. It was supposed to be practical. The words hit her like physical blows. Practical. Their entire relationship had been a transaction to him. She had given him her heart, and he had seen her as a business opportunity. I loved you, Alara said, her voice breaking. And I love him, Sophia said, moving closer to Marcus. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but Marcus and we're in love. Real love. Alara looked at the two people she had trusted most in the world, standing together, united against her. She felt like she was drowning. The walls were closing in. She needed to get out. She needed air. Without another word, she turned and ran. She ran down the hallway, down the stairs, through the ballroom. Guests called out to her, confused, but she didn't stop. She burst through the hotel doors and into the cool night air. The escape. Alara walked for hours. She didn't know where she was going. She just walked, her expensive heels abandoned somewhere along the way, her feet bare on the cold pavement. Her phone rang constantly. Marcus. Her father. Unknown numbers. She ignored them all. Around 3 a.m, she found herself at a small, quiet park. She sat on a bench and finally let herself break down completely. She cried for the love she lost, for the friendship destroyed, for the future that would never happen. She cried until she had no tears left. Rough night? A deep voice asked. Alara looked up. A man stood a few feet away, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. He was tall, with dark hair and intense gray eyes. He wore an expensive suit, slightly disheveled, as if he'd had a long night too. That's an understatement, Alara said, wiping her face. The man gestured to the bench. Mind if I sit? She shrugged. What did it matter? Her life was already in ruins. He sat down and handed her one of the coffees. I'm Damien. Alara. They sat in silence for a while, sipping the coffee. It was surprisingly good. Want to talk about it? Damien asked. And somehow, sitting there with this stranger in the middle of the night, Alara found herself telling him everything. The betrayal, the humiliation, the lies. She told him things she couldn't tell anyone else because he was a stranger. Because he didn't know her, didn't judge her, didn't have expectations. When she finished, Damien was quiet for a moment. Then he said, They don't deserve your tears. I know, Alara said. But it still hurts. It will for a while, Damien said. But pain is just fuel. You can let it destroy you, or you can use it to become something stronger. The turning point. As the sun began to rise, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Alara felt something shift inside her. Damien was right. She could let this destroy her, or she could rise from it. She could disappear, or she could come back stronger than ever. What do you do? Alara asked Damien. I'm a businessman, he said. I acquire struggling companies and turn them around. I'm actually in town looking for someone to manage a new art investment division. Someone with an eye for talent and value. Alara looked at him. Are you offering me a job? Damien smiled. It was the kind of smile that held secrets. I'm offering you a chance. A chance to rebuild. A chance to show everyone who underestimated you exactly what they lost. Alara thought about it. She could go back to her old life, face the gossip and pity. Or she could start fresh. Disappear for a while. Come back transformed. What would I have to do? She asked. Work with me for 6 months, Damien said. Learn the business side of art investment. Help me build something extraordinary. And in return, I'll help you become untouchable. It was crazy. She had just met this man. But something in his eyes told her he understood loss. He understood betrayal. He understood the desire to rise from the ashes. Okay, Alara said. I'll do it. The disappearance. Over the next week, Alara systematically dismantled her old life. She sold her penthouse apartment. She put her gallery in the hands of a trusted manager. She changed her phone number. She deleted her social media accounts. To everyone who knew her, Alara Chen simply vanished. The gossip was immediate and brutal. Some said she had a breakdown. Others said she was too ashamed to show her face. Marcus and Sophia were quick to play the victims, telling anyone who would listen that Alara had overreacted, that she was unstable, that they were actually the ones who deserved sympathy. But Alara didn't care. She was gone. Damien set her up in a luxury apartment in a different city. He enrolled her in intensive business courses. He introduced her to powerful people in the art and investment worlds. And slowly, Alara began to transform. She cut her long hair into a sleek bob. She traded her soft, romantic style for sharp, tailored suits. She learned to negotiate, to read people, to recognize value where others saw nothing. She attended high-stakes auctions and closed million-dollar deals. And as the weeks passed, something else began to develop between Alara and Damien. Late nights working together turned into long conversations. Professional dinners became personal moments. There was an attraction there, undeniable and growing, but both of them kept it at bay. This was business. This was about revenge and rebuilding. Anything else would complicate things. But sometimes, when Damien looked at her with those intense gray eyes, Alara wondered what it would be like to let herself fall again. To trust again. To love again. The return. 6 months later, Alara Chen walked into the annual Artisan Gala, the biggest event in the art world. The same event where she had met Marcus 3 years ago. But she was not the same woman who had fled in tears from her engagement party. She wore a black dress that was all power and sophistication. Her hair was styled in an elegant updo. Diamond earrings glittered at her ears. And on her arm was Damien Cross, one of the most powerful and mysterious businessmen in the country. As they entered the ballroom, heads turned. Whispers spread. And then Alara saw them. Marcus and Sophia, standing together near the champagne fountain. Sophia wore a ring on her finger. They had gotten engaged. When Marcus saw Alara, his face went pale. Sophia grabbed his arm, looking nervous. They hadn't expected her to be here. They certainly hadn't expected her to look like this. Powerful. Untouchable. Transformed. Alara smiled, and it was the smile of a woman who had learned to turn pain into power. The smile of a woman who was about to show them exactly what they had lost. Damien leaned down and whispered in her ear, "Ready?" "Ready," Alara said. The game was about to begin. Part 2, The Game of Hearts. The Power Play. The Artisan Gala was in full swing, and Alara felt every eye in the room on her. She had expected the attention, welcomed it even. This was her grand return, her chance to show the world that betrayal hadn't broken her. It had forged her into something stronger. "Alara Chen, is that really you?" A woman's voice rang out. It was Victoria Ashford, one of the most influential art collectors in the country. She had been at Alara's engagement party 6 months ago. "Victoria, how wonderful to see you," Alara said smoothly, extending her hand. Victoria's eyes were wide with curiosity. My dear, we all wondered what happened to you. The rumors were quite dramatic. Rumors often are, Alara said with a knowing smile. I simply decided it was time for a change. Time to focus on bigger opportunities. And this must be the opportunity, Victoria said, looking at Damien with obvious interest. Damien Cross. I've heard so much about your ventures. Art investment, wasn't it? Damien's hand rested lightly on the small of Alara's back, a gesture that didn't go unnoticed. Among other things. Alara has been instrumental in identifying undervalued pieces for our portfolio. She has an extraordinary eye. How fascinating, Victoria said. You must tell me more. I'm always looking for fresh investment opportunities. As they talked business, Alara could feel Marcus's gaze burning into her from across the room. She didn't look at him. Not yet. Let him watch. Let him wonder. Let him realize what he had thrown away. The confrontation. It was inevitable that Marcus would approach. Alara knew him well enough to know his ego wouldn't allow him to be ignored. Sure enough, halfway through the evening, as she stood alone near the balcony doors, he appeared. Alara. She turned slowly, her expression neutral. Marcus. He looked the same. Handsome, polished, but now she could see what she hadn't before. The coldness in his eyes. The calculated way he smiled. How had she ever thought he loved her? You look different, Marcus said, his eyes traveling over her in a way that made her skin crawl. I am different, Alara said simply. I heard you disappeared. Left everything behind, Marcus said, stepping closer. That wasn't like you. You didn't know me as well as you thought you did. Marcus's jaw tightened. Look, about what happened at the engagement party. Sophia and I, it was complicated. We never meant to hurt you. Alara laughed, and the sound was bitter. You never meant to get caught, you mean? Can we talk? Marcus asked, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. Privately? Before Alara could respond, Damien appeared at her side. His presence was commanding, protective. Is everything all right here? Marcus's eyes narrowed as he looked at Damien. There was something in his expression. Recognition? Hostility? Alara couldn't quite place it. We're fine, Marcus said coldly. This is a private conversation. Actually, we were just finishing, Alara said. She turned to Damien. Shall we? I believe the auction is about to start. As they walked away, Alara could feel Marcus's angry gaze following them. Good. Let him be angry. Let him feel even a fraction of what she had felt that night. The business war. Over the next few weeks, Alara threw herself into work with renewed intensity. Damien's company was bidding on a major art collection, one that would cement their position in the market. But they had competition. Sterling Investments, Marcus's family company, was also interested in the same collection. He's trying to outbid us on the Morrison collection, Damien said one evening as they reviewed the numbers in his office. He's gone up by 2 million. Alara studied the spreadsheet. The Morrison collection was legendary. 30 pieces by emerging and established artists, valued at over $50 million. Whoever acquired it would dominate the art investment market for the next decade. Why do I get the feeling this isn't just about business? Alara asked. Damien looked up from his papers, his gray eyes intense. Because it's not. Not entirely. What do you mean? Damien leaned back in his chair. Marcus Sterling and I have history. Years ago, before you knew him, his family's company acquired a business my father had built from nothing. They promised to keep the employees, to honor my father's legacy. They didn't. They stripped it for parts and threw everyone out, including my father. The stress killed him within a year. Alara felt her breath catch. Damien. When I heard about what he did to you at that engagement party, I saw an opportunity, Damien continued. A chance to help you and to finally make the Sterlings pay for what they did to my family. So this whole time, the job offer, helping me transform, all of it was about revenge? Alara felt her heart sink. She had thought maybe, just maybe, Damien had seen something in her worth saving. But it had all been part of a larger plan. At first, yes, Damien admitted. But then I got to know you. Your strength, your intelligence, your passion for art. Somewhere along the way, this stopped being just about revenge. You matter to me, Alara. More than I expected. More than I should allow. The air between them was charged with tension. They had been circling this attraction for months, keeping it professional, keeping it safe. But now, with his confession hanging in the air, the barriers were crumbling. I don't know if I can trust this, Alara said softly. Trust you. Trust myself. Last time I trusted someone, I ended up broken. I'm not Marcus, Damien said, standing and moving closer to her. I won't make you promises I can't keep. I won't pretend my intentions are pure. But I will never lie to you, and I will never betray you. The stolen moment. Before Alara could respond, Damien's phone rang. He glanced at it and cursed under his breath. It's my lawyer. The Morrison auction has been moved up. It's tomorrow night instead of next week. That's impossible, Alara said. Why would they change it? Because someone paid them to, Damien said grimly. Marcus is trying to catch us off guard. They spent the entire night preparing. Alara called in favors from every contact she had made over the past 6 months. She researched each piece in the collection, determining their true value and investment potential. By dawn, they had a strategy. But there was a problem. To win the auction, they would need to go higher than they had initially planned. Higher than their investors might be comfortable with. I can put in my own money, Alara said. The profits from selling my gallery. It's enough to cover the gap. Damien shook his head. That's your safety net. Your future security. I won't let you risk it. This is my choice, Alara said firmly. Marcus took something from me. He made me feel worthless, like I was just a tool to be used. Beating him at this, showing him that I'm not just surviving but thriving, that matters. Let me do this. Damien studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay. But if we lose, I'll pay you back every cent. We're not going to lose, Alara said with a confidence she hoped she felt. The auction. The auction house was packed the next evening. Everyone who was anyone in the art world was there. Alara and Damien sat in the front row, projecting calm confidence. Across the aisle, Marcus and Sophia sat with Marcus's father, Robert Sterling, a silver-haired man with the cold eyes of a shark. When Robert Sterling saw Damien, his expression darkened. So the elder Sterling remembered Damien's father. Good. Let him know exactly who was coming for him. The auction began. The first few pieces went quickly, selling for expected prices. But when the crown jewel of the collection came up, a stunning abstract piece by a recently deceased artist whose work had skyrocketed in value, the real battle began. We'll start the bidding at 10 million, the auctioneer announced. 12 million, Marcus called out immediately. 15 million, Damien countered without hesitation. Back and forth they went, the price climbing higher and higher. The room was silent except for their voices. Everyone knew this was about more than art. This was personal. 25 million, Marcus said, his voice strained. Alara leaned over and whispered to Damien, we can go to 28, but that's our limit. Damien squeezed her hand briefly, then stood. 30 million. Gasps filled the room. Marcus's face went red. He looked at his father, who shook his head sharply. They were out. They couldn't go higher. Going once, the auctioneer called. Going twice. Sold to Damien Cross for $30 million. Applause erupted. Alara felt a surge of triumph. They had won. They had beaten Marcus at his own game. But as they stood to leave, Robert Sterling blocked their path. "Enjoy your victory, Mr. Cross," he said coldly. "It will be your last. My son may not know your history with our family, but I do. And I will make sure you regret coming after us." "I don't regret it for a second," Damien said. "And neither does Alara." Robert's cold gaze shifted to Alara. Ah yes, the little gallery owner who thought she could marry up. "Marcus told me all about you. Did you really think you were good enough for my son?" The words were designed to hurt, to make her feel small again. But Alara had spent 6 months learning to be untouchable. She smiled, and it was the smile of a woman who knew her worth. "I'm too good for your son," Alara said calmly. "I always was. I just didn't realize it until he showed me his true colors. So thank you, Mr. Sterling. Thank you for raising a man who was shallow enough to let me go. It freed me to become the person I was always meant to be." She walked past him, Damien at her side, leaving Robert Sterling speechless. The revelation. Later that night, back at Damien's office, they celebrated with champagne. The Morrison collection was theirs. They had won the biggest battle yet. "I can't believe we did it," Alara said, leaning against Damien's desk. "You did it," Damien corrected. "Your research, your contacts, your instincts. I just wrote the checks." "We're a good team," Alara said softly. "We are," Damien agreed, moving closer. "Alara, I need to tell you something." His tone made her nervous. "What is it?" "When I first offered you that job 6 months ago, I told you it was because I saw potential in you." That was true, but it wasn't the whole truth. I had been watching Marcus Sterling for months, waiting for the right opportunity to strike at his family. When I saw you that night in the park, broken and crying, I saw a chance. I'm not proud of that. I used your pain for my own revenge." Alara felt like she'd been punched. "So I was just a pawn? A tool for your revenge?" "At first, maybe," Damien said. "But things changed. You changed. Somewhere between teaching you about business and watching you transform yourself, I fell for you. The real you. Not the broken woman in the park, but the strong, brilliant, fierce woman you became." "I don't know if I can believe that," Alara said, her voice shaking. "How do I know this isn't just another manipulation? How do I know you're not just like Marcus, using me for your own gain?" "You don't," Damien said honestly. "All I can do is show you. Day by day, choice by choice. I'm not perfect, Alara. I'm driven by revenge and anger and old wounds. But what I feel for you is real. That, I can promise you." Before Alara could respond, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. She answered it, and Sophia's voice came through, thick with tears. "Alara, please don't hang up. I need to talk to you. It's important. It's about Marcus. There are things you need to know." Alara's eyes met Damien's. After everything, why would Sophia be calling her now? And what could she possibly have to say that Alara would want to hear? "I'm listening," Alara said carefully. "Not over the phone," Sophia said. "Can we meet? Tomorrow? Please. You deserve to know the truth about everything." Alara's mind raced. This could be a trap. Marcus could be trying to manipulate her again. But something in Sophia's voice sounded genuine. Desperate. Scared. "Okay," Alara said. "Tomorrow. The coffee shop on 5th Street. Noon." She hung up and looked at Damien. "Sophia wants to meet. She says there are things about Marcus I need to know." "It could be a trick," Damien warned. "I know," Alara said. "But what if it's not? What if there's more to this story than we know?" Damien nodded slowly. "Then we find out together." "I'm coming with you." "No," Alara said firmly. "I need to do this alone." face her alone. It's the only way I'll know if she's telling the truth. The meeting. The next day, Alara arrived at the coffee shop early. She chose a table by the window where she could see everyone coming and going. When Sophia walked in, Alara barely recognized her. Sophia had always been beautiful, but now she looked haunted. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. She had lost weight. Her clothes hung loose on her frame. She saw Alara and walked over, sitting down without ordering anything. "Thank you for meeting me," Sophia said quietly. "You have 10 minutes, Alara said coldly. "Talk." Sophia took a shaky breath. "I'm pregnant. Marcus's baby. But he doesn't want it. He told me to get rid of it or he'll leave me." Alara felt a flicker of pity, but she pushed it down. "That's unfortunate, but it's not my problem." "There's more," Sophia continued. "Marcus, he's been using me. The same way he used you. He never loved me. He told me what I wanted to hear to keep me compliant. And now I see what you must have felt that night. The betrayal. The realization that everything was a lie." "Why are you telling me this?" Alara asked. "Because Marcus is planning something," Sophia said urgently. "His father is furious about losing that auction to you and Damien Cross. They're digging into your past, looking for anything they can use against you. And they found something. Something about Damien." Alara's blood ran cold. "What did they find?" Sophia pulled out her phone and showed Alara a photo. It was an old newspaper article. The headline read, "Local businessman dies after company takeover, family blames Sterling Investments." There was a photo of a young man standing beside his father. Alara's heart stopped. The young man was Damien. "Marcus knows," Sophia said. "He knows Damien's been planning revenge for years. And he's going to use it. He's going to destroy both of you. He's going to paint Damien as someone who seduced you, used you, manipulated you for revenge. He's going to make you look like a fool all over again." Alara felt sick. "When?" "There's a press conference tomorrow," Sophia said. "Marcus is going to announce a major business partnership. But really, he's going to expose everything. Your relationship with Damien. The revenge plot. All of it. He wants to humiliate you publicly and destroy Damien's reputation." "Why are you warning me?" Alara asked. "You were part of the betrayal. Why help me now?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Because I was wrong. I was selfish and stupid, and I hurt my best friend for a man who never loved me. I can't undo what I did, but maybe I can stop you from being hurt again. You don't deserve what Marcus is planning." Alara stood up. "Thank you for the warning." "Alara," Sophia called as she walked away. "I really am sorry. For all of it." Alara didn't turn back. She walked out of the coffee shop with one thought in her mind. She needed to tell Damien. They needed a plan. Because Marcus Sterling was coming for them, and this time, they needed to be ready. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning.